Who says gardening can't be emotional? You invest months of your life raising a plant up from a seed, and just when you begin to feel like you're really getting to know your plant, Old Man Winter swoops in and snatches it away from you. It's sad enough to make a grown man cry. What if I told you that it didn't have to be like this? That you can rescue your favorite and most productive plants for years to come. If you're like me, and your peppers don't grow in pots, it's prime time potting time. Select a relatively small pot with lots of drainage, something like a 1.5 gallon size pot or smaller depending on the plant. Don't be afraid of a little root damage when getting them out of the ground. We're going to be pruning the top off pretty significantly, and we need to make sure that the top and bottom are balanced. I found that instead of messing around with trowels and shovels, it's easier just to firmly grasp it at the base and just slowly and steadily yank it out. Remove all the soil that's sitting on the roots that you can. You never know what kind of harmful pests can be living in there. Some people soak the roots in an insecticidal or an antifungal bath as an added layer of precaution, but I can't be bothered, and it seems like it's more work than it's worth. The next step is to add some fresh soil and a dash of fertilizer. The first real step is to cut it back. These extra growths were great throughout the growing season for putting out tasty peppers, but now that the season's over, they're just an extra burden on the plant at a time where it needs to conserve as much of its energy and resources as possible. It's gonna look like we're cutting back a lot, and you're right, we are. What we want to keep is only the main stem plus like 3 nodes. Also, trim all of the remaining leaves. You can put these back in the pot as kind of a leaf mulch fertilizer, but you don't have to. In terms of fertilizer, I wouldn't go too crazy on it. Maximum I would use is like a 5-5-5 or a sprinkle of some compost or manure. The last thing you want is to burn your plant's roots after putting in all this effort to save it. It'd be like moving from the rain to under the gutter. Give it a good watering, and the second to last step is to top it off with a layer of mulch for moisture control and to help protect the soil a bit more from the cold. This kind of mulch is up to personal preference, whatever you have lying around. This can be composted leaves, straw, hay, dried lawn clippings. The sky's the limit with this one. Finally, find a good place to store it. Keep it in a cool, dry place with some supplemental light like a window, and most importantly, a place that won't get below 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. This description fits most garages or basements, so pick whichever fits best with where you're located. Peppers are very resilient. They went through a lot of stress. They've been ripped up, cut up, but do not fret, they'll pull through. Probably. There is a non-zero chance that some of your plants will up and die on you, and unfortunately, that's just something you need to come to terms with. Think of it this way. If you do nothing, they'll die 100% of the time. If you try to overwinter them, they'll only die like 15-ish% of the time. I'd take those odds. You can keep a couple of the leaves on the plant to help it make the energy it needs to survive the winter, but it's quite controversial. The downside is that pests like to hide and feed on these leaves, so leaving them is asking to bring these pests into your home and adding an additional layer of stress to your plant. If you do leave a few leaves on, keep an eye on them. If you notice a leaf begin to turn yellow, it's better just to prune it off and help the plant conserve some energy. There are a number of advantages to overwintering your peppers. Most of them stem from not having to deal with seeds in the springtime. I have nothing against seeds. These all came from a seed packet this year, but knowing exactly what kind of peppers you're going to get, skipping the germination and fragility of the seedlings, and also giving your peppers a head start in the growing season are benefits that will really make you stop and think about letting your peppers freeze over this winter. If you like what you saw, why not consider subscribing and hitting the notification icon to stay up to date on when I post. If you change your mind, you can always unsubscribe later. But until next time, bye.